What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Quadcast, the show where we get real, get raw, and get loud about mental health, substance use, and the fight to take our lives back.
Each episode, we're cutting through the stigma, dropping knowledge, sharing stories, and bringing the heat with guests who have lived it and aren't afraid to talk about it.
So turn it up, lock in, and let's break barriers, spark change, and build a community that refuses to stay silent. You're tuned into the Quadcast, and let's get into it.
You can find us on Patreon, Facebook, Instagram, or email us. The Quadcast is always looking for new guests, whether you're individuals that have experienced it, you're in law enforcement, treatment programs, nurses, doctors, or anyone that just has something to say. Come share your story with us on mental health or substance abuse.
Warning, there's cussing in this video. If you don't like swear words, well, you're watching the wrong damn show. What does being a parent in recovery mean to you now?
It means everything to me. But it means that I can love my children as they deserve to be loved. It means that no matter what my children walk through as adults, I will be there to support them and walk with them through it. It also means that even though I make mistakes, I'm going to say it's okay, because there can be a lot of guilt and condemnation there as a parent in recovery. And we've got to learn to let go of that.
Sure. What barriers, being financial, emotional, social, did you face while trying to get help?
A lot. While I did not go to an inpatient rehab facility or anything like that, any time that I was trying to, well, I don't even know if I ever really tried to get in recovery, but there's not, financial barrier is huge. There is not enough support out there financially for people trying to get in recovery. I mean, if you look at a single mom with 4 daughters, had I've went somewhere, I would have lost the house I was renting. Who would have kept my kids unless it would have been the state? Child care would have been huge. I would have probably lost my job. So I would have gotten out and not, where would I have started?
Mhm.
I wouldn't have had a house. I wouldn't have had a job. And I would like to say in the year 2025, almost 2026, things are better, but they're not. They're not. Well, I mean, there's a lot more resources.
For what it is, they're not.
But it's really not. It's really not. I mean, there's people.
There's resources, but there is no future support in, re-entering the workforce. Because re-entering the workforce requires you to be away from home, right? So what jobs in West Virginia are out there that you can make a living to provide childcare, vehicle maintenance, gas, outside of a gas station, fast food, or a restaurant service? Like, what jobs are in West Virginia?
Right.
And that's a big topic in Brian Helton's op-ed, is workforce reentry, because as a state, we have the lowest participation in our workforce overall per capita. So what do we do as a state to be able to help that? And just my ignorance and having communication or conversations with other people, is there, Brian outlines that we spend $240 million last year on Suboxone and methadone based treatment programs in the state. If we could fix that system, what part of that 240 million could go towards creating a state-based workforce? There's plenty of infrastructure and things out here that we could put people to work doing to provide them with that first step towards that workforce reentry to where they can, start getting a paycheck, or, the state fund, pay for their rent in a, housing for a little while, or help them with childcare to help them re-enter the workforce. Like, what could we be doing as a state to work towards
Yeah.
that? $240 million is a lot to spend on Suboxone, methadone, Medicaid-based treatment programs. We talked before, with the Suboxone, the MAT programs and stuff. But at what point do we look at other things? Because, people see that there is no future outlook to workforce reentry because, felons can't get hired everywhere. But, if you have drug addiction past, most of that's going to kick you out of most interview processes. I mean, I hate to say it, but it is, and, unless it's, mom and pop shops that have dealt with it, or have, are
Right.
interested in helping people. Corporations, they don't want that. So, like, at what point do we switch and be like, hey, we have to support the further ground, not just the
immediate.
immediate
Yeah.
recovery process?
Yeah, so on that subject of reentry and workforce, so the federal prison in Alderson, I've been involved with doing some things there.
Mhm.
And last month I finished up, I had 34 inmates in a peer recovery support class.
Mhm.
So they're now trained, they have their certificates.
Nice.
So when they get out and go wherever they're releasing to, they can enter into the peer recovery workforce.
Good.
But that working with those ladies as closely as I have been and still am, I hear from their perspective the barriers,
Sure.
and it hurts my heart so bad because it's
With going through that and working with them, like, were they open to the aspect of following that journey?
absolutely the
I-
testimonies
And
that came out of
I've
that.
been down there a little bit through my law enforcement, and, honestly, never met anybody bad down there. They've all been great that I've dealt with.
Especially.
Obviously you get your certain ones, but the ones that I've directly dealt with have been, they fell apart in hard times and ended up in prison. There was a lot of them that got sent to prison over working under a doctor that was prescribing medications that he shouldn't have been prescribing.
Right.
And, in the whole process, they get arrested and get sent to prison for it.
Yeah, that's huge. There was a lady, the last day of class, I think she's in her 50s, but she said, "Do you realize how much this is going to help us?" She said, "This is the first time in my life that I will be able to have a professional career."
Really.
And I'm like,
Do
okay,
you know what she did before she?
nothing legal.
Okay.
I don't know what she did. I'm sure she had jobs,
Sure.
but
Nothing legal.
but
All right.
I'm sure she had legal jobs, but she never did say. So
Sure.
maybe she didn't. But there's some ladies like that work fast food and things like that.
Mhm.
But it took off so much in there that there's already a group of them. They're coming up with a plan to offer peer support within the prison system. And if they haven't yet, they're getting ready to present that to the warden to be able to do that. And I mean, it just like that's probably my favorite part now, because I love my street outreach too. But
Sure.
street outreach and working with the ladies at the prison, it's changing their lives even before they get out. And
That's a big aspect in my mind, is the rehabilitation
I love it.
from, jail or prison back into the community. And I think we're severely failing at that
Yeah.
because
Agree.
the amount of people that we just kick out and make them fend for themselves.
Yeah.
We sit around here and we're like, oh, nobody's working, but we're not giving them the availability to
Right.
do any kind of work. And that kind of goes back with the state funded, work program or whatever. I think there are things out there that we could be doing to help support that further. Just like, the training them to be peer support.
Yeah.
That's huge for them because
It
that
is.
gives them a purpose to work
Absolutely.
towards. And, which is obviously mostly what people are looking for anyways, is a purpose, which is 9 times out of 10 why they ended up in prison in the first place. Is they didn't have a purpose,
Right.
or they had the wrong kind of purpose that they
Right.
thought was a purpose.
Yes. Yes.
So that's really cool. So how was this the first program that you did?
It was
down
the
at the
first
prison?
one, yes.
Are
I've been doing a
you-
recovery
Are
support
you
group
looking
there
at
for a
doing
while.
more?
Absolutely. I'll start another one down there after the first of the year.
Nice.
Hopefully it'll stay. I love it.
So we'll kind of switch over to your mental or your professional side here. Do you want to describe what you do and what you have done in the past?
So, I'm now a peer recovery support specialist, like you said earlier, at behavioral health at Rainelle Medical Center. Our office is actually down in Caldwell.
Okay.
So what my job looks like now is I'm hardly ever in the office, which I
Even
love,
better.
but so let's go back to in office first. So in office, we have started MET program. So I see clients through that are participating in that.
What was the drive to start that program through Rainelle Medical Center?
That was before I came along.
Okay.
So, honestly, I think that they want to offer resources, and we do it, we'll say differently. I mean, obviously, there's guidelines that we all have to go by, but
Sure.
our goal is to meet people where they're at, and if that needs to be Suboxone or whatever other kind of medication assisted treatment, start them out on that. Our goal is to complete that program and then come off of that medication as well.
Sure. So at this point in time in that program, what are the benefits? Well, what are the results that you guys are seeing? Like, are you seeing positive results, or are you seeing more like people trying to do long-term commitment to that medication, or are you seeing
So
the taper?
with it being so new, we only have a few clients, but I can say that they are wanting to come off of all medication as quickly as possible,
Good.
which I love.
Absolutely, and obviously that's what that program was intended to do. As a state, we've kind of gotten away from that a little bit, which is one of the reasons we're having some issues. But
Yes.
it's all part of the system, unfortunately, and the whole system is a flaw in itself.
Different.
So how do you guys track the progress of the individuals that you have on that program?
So I'm not involved with most of that. I'm more my role in it is to offer peer support.
Sure.
I can say that they're very supported. They do see therapists, counselors, practitioners. It's not just get them in and out.
Sure.
Um,
It's full shot.
yes, absolutely.
Sure.
And there's some people that aren't willing to do that.
Sure.
Which is fine, but that means our program isn't for them.
Is that
But
like your program, they commit to start to finish in that program, and if they don't commit to that, they don't receive the treatment?
For if they do not want to go by the guidelines, of course, we'll refer them somewhere else. But it's with it still being early on,
Sure.
we're still working out some of the kinks. But so far it's good. I'll be honest, from a peer perspective, because I think my perspective is different than therapists, counselors,
Sure.
whoever. The medical side of it and peer support side of it is totally different.
Absolutely.
I had my concerns about it,
Mhm.
but now that I'm involved with it, I think that I see it being a good thing. And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that I'm employed where I am, and that while Rainelle Medical Center is huge, the behavioral health is huge.
Sure.
It's still like that. They truly care about the people that we serve,
Sure.
to where some bigger corporations are more about money.
Mm-hmm.
From what I've seen, we truly want to make a difference in people's lives and help them to learn to
Sure.
live a better, healthier life in recovery and with their mental health.
Sure.
And that I'm really thankful for.
So, and obviously you're not super directly involved, but how do you see the program with Rainelle Medical Center different from, say, the one in Beckley? You know what I mean? Like,
Have to be very careful and
Yeah.
use my words very
Sure.
carefully.
So,
But I will say
and
this.
if you don't want to touch on it, that's fine.
No, I will say this. And I can say this without using our MAT, but from what I see professionally,
Mhm.
a lot of programs put people on Suboxone or whatever other medication
Mhm.
without intentions of tapering them off.
Sure.
I've met people in my line of work that has been on Suboxone for 10 years. That's not healthy. I mean, physically not healthy.
And
One.
I'm very ignorant to the medical side of it, which I think a lot of people are. But there are, and Brian touched on this, that there are long-term medical side effects from
Absolutely.
being on the Suboxone methadone treatment for an extended period of time.
Yes. Suboxone, it'll eat holes in your gums.
Really?
Oh yeah. There's several people. And some places, some facilities don't let them know about that. We do. We do.
I mean, I think that's should be
but,
in the full disclosure of things, but
and it's people say that it's not addictive. It can be.
at some point it has to be, because you're substituting one for the other, so there has to be some type of addictive component there,
So,
correct?
I had a guy that I was working with, and he ended up going back to jail, and I don't know how they got Suboxone in the jail, but they did. And when he got back out, he quit. He did not have access to Suboxone, and he went through horrible withdrawal.
Really?
So like everything else, there's a downside to it.
Sure.
But I can say we seem to be doing very well with, and that is the goal. You will, and the clients, I believe that they want tapered off of it.
I think that's the overall goal for anybody, because I don't think anybody wants to be addicted to
Right.
anything.
Right.
It's
Exactly.
the mindset and the addiction that causes the continuation of use, I think, for a lot of people. And, touching back on that support aspect, nobody's there to be supportive to them.
Right. And that's something I've seen with where I'm working at now. There's such a huge support, like it again, like I said, versus a big corporation and a little smaller community organization. I love it. Like, if everybody could have the wraparound services that are offered,
No, and
it
I
makes a
think that's
huge
great,
difference.
because, and I'll touch on this and not put you in the hot seat on it, but
Thank you.
like Seneca and Crosswinds, um, Crosswinds is a maximum 7-day detox, and they have the option to receive services from Seneca. I think the full scale service of being in one spot and not they're committing to that full scale service instead of having the decision to, I don't really want to do that. So they don't have any push to go to that next service of care. So I would think personally that the full scale service all in one spot and having that support system throughout the whole process would be more beneficial than the alternative. I would think, not to put you in the hot seat on that.
No problem.
So what exactly do you do in your role?
So that's what we were on.
Yeah.
So I will see people as with MAT once a week. We'll do a relapse prevention plan together. Work
What
on
does
that
that entail?
together. So for instance, we'll talk about triggers. We'll talk about your support system. We'll talk about an out. Um, a guy said to me once, I've always told my teenage son, if you go to a party, you already have your cup. You already have your bottle. That way, if somebody offers you something, you have an out. You already have whatever it is. You don't even have to tell them what it is.
Sure.
So we work on outs. We set short-term goals, very short-term goals, so that they don't get overwhelmed.
Sure.
So I do that. I do a whole lot of street outreach, which looks different at different times. I'll provide food, I'll provide resources, Narcan, fentanyl, xylazine test strips, hygiene items, wound care kits, which is important because it's not always drug use that they have wounds. A woman got bit by a dog. She was in active use, but she wouldn't go to the doctor, so I provided wound care kits to her. She was able to treat it herself. It's better now. So,
That
yeah,
would be rough.
yes. So I do a lot of that type of stuff. I also have support groups for people in recovery, support groups for people that have been affected by substance use and mental health. I do the peer recovery support training out here in the community as well. I provide Narcan training and Narcan to whoever. I think everybody needs to carry it.
How is that funded through?
It's grant funded.
It's grant funded.
Yes. Everybody needs to carry Narcan because it could be like my great aunt accidentally took more of her morphine than she was supposed to. So everybody needs to have it.
So how, and just to put it out into the public, how would somebody go about getting in touch to be able to get Narcan?
Reach out to me. 304-992-1876.
I'll get all your information and attach it.
It's offered free. The health department, I'm sure, has some still. I have it. Get it. It's no big. It's
Sure.
not complicated to
Sure.
get it.
I know, when the Narcan actually first came about, as law enforcement, we were getting it, keeping it in our cruisers, and it wasn't very hard to get it.
Right.
You have to go to the health department and get it.
Right.
But I never had to use it, but it's been used a lot. And
Yeah.
so, and that's one of the big things on the legislative side of it's money going out, and we're not trying to fix the problem to not have to spend as much on it, if that makes sense. But everybody deserves tomorrow, and in that aspect, Narcan can give you tomorrow.
Absolutely.
It does have a downside. It's leading to some of the medical professionals ending up in bad situations with overdoses, and violent people once they actually wake up from an overdose. So I think that aspect of things is where it's getting a little bit of negativity from. And I think a lot of people look at it as we save them to be able to do it again. And that's not necessarily the right way to look at it. But I
Compassion
think that,
fatigue.
right. I
Compassion
think that's a lot
fatigue.
the way that a lot of people are looking at it. But that goes back to people not understanding in the education of
Right.
what's actually going on. So
Right.
you can continue.
So what all did I talk about that? That's really about it, I think. I do whatever I need to do that's within the realm of the grant funding.
Sure. So is that's your main, you work around the grant funding?
Yes, my position is grant funded.
Okay. Gotcha.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of the Quadcast.
Remember, breaking stigma doesn't stop when the episode ends. We're building a movement, and you're a part of it. Stay strong, stay aware, and stay connected.
This is the Quadcast, signing out.